what's the, obviously like not asking you to share anybody's private information. But what's the wound that's most commonly behind the porn addiction? Because if it, I know that the answer is the relationship, but like, is it men have bad relationships with their father? Is it that men have bad relationships with women? Like what's the core of it?
Yeah, I think it's like any of the above. It could be related to like that's like my story is like related to a father wound. It's nothing was good enough. Growing up, I always came back to this household of that's like you did a good job, but you could do better, right? Let's make this more efficient. I always love you, but like I need you to do this thing better. Those were kind of the same messages I got through all of growing up, and in that way, and I feel like a lot of guys kind of get that message too, where you can do better, and then coupled with your worth is tied to what you achieve, what you do, how much money you make. It can be really easy to fall in the slip of feeling inadequate. And so what do we do? Easy place to turn to porn, where you feel totally adequate. I mean,
right.
for, the time that you're looking at porn, and then you feel like afterwards. I don't know if we're supposed to.
That's okay.
Is this explicit podcast or not?
We'll beep it.
Yeah, we can
we'll beep it. Okay.
For the radio edit,
If I could request a rubber duck sound, that would be that'd be,
rubber duck.
That'd be nice. Yeah. But it's like what the work with the men that I work with, like we have to talk about real stuff, and that's where my mind started to go there. It's like, because it's like you feel so empty afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's one common thing that a lot of guys struggle with, is that inadequacy. But then loneliness and purposelessness are both huge ones too. So
yeah.
How many of the guys that come to you have it's a twofold question. How many of them is this like super buried? You know what I mean? That like they have no idea that this is what's actually going on. But on the contrary side to that, how many of them when you articulate something like what you just did, that it clicks immediately and it's like a huge turning point? Because I could see both being true.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of guys don't want to see that deeper connection, that deeper need for a relationship, and maybe don't want to is not quite the right terms. Like I think they do want to,
right? Like subconsciously they repress it, they suppress it, I guess.
Yeah, and why? It's because like they're probably not only using like porn to cope with, but they're using all sorts of different defense mechanisms to keep everything kind of arm's length away in life. Like I don't really want to feel. I really don't want to like turn on those emotions, because that sounds bad. Like that sounds like it's going to hurt. It sounds like it's going to really, it's not going to help me, right, to turn on those emotions. And then I come in and like, that's what we need to do. and then, those cases take a little bit longer, because it's like, I got to present a case. I got to present a reason why it's okay, it's safe to bring those emotions in here, and why it's actually going to lead to the healing that they're looking for. Whereas like some of the cases you're saying, like, yeah, as soon as you present it, it's like, oh yeah, that's it. Like that's right. What I'm missing.
Yeah. I feel like for a lot of the guys that I'll talk to who are struggling with something like this, they across the board, they understand that the behavior is problematic, that there's something sinful, there's something unvirtuous, there's something that's deeply wrong with pornography. They know it, and they're frustrated because they can't figure out why they keep going back to it. And so that struggles. I don't know why I'm doing this. I can't control. I feel like I'm not in control. And I mean, that's often actually a great sign of the presence of something that's on the level of addiction, right? I don't feel like I have any control. And then some of them are able to make the connection like coming into it. I realize that I've struggled in this kind of relationship. So here's where there's a struggle. But then there's also this other element where they might not realize some of the places where that relationship is, or those relational dynamics rather, are affecting them and kind of leading them on this path. So like they might not realize that relationship with parents can have an enormous impact on that. They might think, in past dating relationships or something, or I'm feeling really lonely, so I'm just looking for this. But why are you feeling lonely, or why did that relationship go this way? And then they start going, oh yeah, and they start digging. And I don't know, have you found this, Nick? Like something that I've come across a few times in working with people is a hesitancy, like as they start recognizing where some of these wounds are from. There's also this. It's actually, I think it's really beautiful because they don't want to blame anyone. They want to be responsible. Right. Like people want to be responsible for their own crap. Like this is on me. This isn't on anybody else. So I don't want to act like I'm blaming people. And I think in general, that's often the fear in somebody taking up therapy. Right? If I go to therapy, they're just going to tell me that my father didn't hug me enough. Or if I go to therapy, they're going to tell me that I just have this thing where it's because somehow it's my parents' fault. And it's like, I love my parents. I think my parents did a great job. And so there's a hesitancy. I've even experienced this myself. Like, I don't want to blame other people. I want to blame myself. But then to realize that sometimes there are faults in the relationship. There are places where there's a weakness or where something didn't go quite right in the context of this relationship that might have been a very, very good relationship overall. But this one little thing still needs to be healed. So I'm still trying to figure this out. So you're gonna process this with me and help me out here, I hope. Like,
sounds like a plan.
It seems like I'm the only one not adequately prepared to help anyone process.
No, but I think, Matt, you have good gifts that you can bring also, like vocabulary. Even.
Yeah. Speaking of which, sorry for shaming you for making you apologize before.
No. You did the right thing. I needed that needed to happen. I was wrong. I was just completely wrong. Okay. But in that context, like, I want to help people understand. Just talking about it doesn't mean you're blaming anybody, and it's not about pointing a finger of blame at this individual or this person or anything like that. It's just identifying what is. But getting people to that sort of objective stance is sometimes a real journey. Like, what do you find is the best way to get them to that objective position where they can just say, "This is what happened," full stop, no judgment on anything.
Yeah. I think at some point, almost every person I've walked with the exception of one or two people, have had that hesitancy where it's like, I don't want to blame anyone here. And different people have different thresholds. You know, some people are easy to jump in and let's look at this objectively, but always kind of hit a wall at some point. And the way that I like to phrase it and come back to when we hit that wall is looking at the school of love. Like, we all come from imperfect schools of love, unless Jesus was your brother, Mary was your mom, Joseph was your dad, right? Like, your school of love was broken to some degree. Like, there's some inadequacy that you've learned from that school of love. And that's what I want to point to. That's what we want to look at. Like, where have you learned something that isn't quite right about relationship? That we can come back and just point to that. Not, to your point, Father Sam, it's like people come in so hesitant looking at modern psychology and like, I don't want to blame people. I've seen that. I've seen the blame game thrown out there, and then people put up these ridiculous boundaries and barriers that, boundaries are good, but some people put them up in improper positions and like cut off relationships entirely. And it's just like, no, like that's not what we're supposed to be doing here. Like, it's not this blame game where we don't take ownership over our stuff. Other people have hurt you. Absolutely. Right. Like, that's something that we should acknowledge. But we still have a part to play in this. And speaking into that truth, it's like, like we can look at the inadequate love that you've received and see, where's the room to prove.
Thanks for watching today's video. Let us know what you thought down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.